hot Cuban musicians here and singers and lots of great Mexican musicians and American, Canadian. It's a really nice mix. It's a great community.
That's cool. That's really cool. I want to ask you, before I ask you about your music, what sort of influences did you have when you grew up? What sort of music was you into?
Well, I was just saying to someone the other day, because Santana's still very popular here in Mexico. And I told someone I've been into Santana since I was a little kid, because my older brother had a fantastic vinyl collection, and I would sneak down into his bedroom and listen to Santana and Hendrix and The Doors. And that was my musical education, was his record collection. Yeah, for sure. The Beatles, of course, and the Stones are the bands I grew up with. The Who, and all my favorite bands were British, of course, in those days. Led Zeppelin.
I've read on your website, you said you were very much into also the songwriters, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Bob Dylan. It's like
yeah, I call them the Holy Trinity. I think Bob's probably God by now, and Joni's the Holy Spirit, and Neil's Jesus, I guess.
That's very cool. As a songwriter myself, I've studied Bob Dylan. That was my big one. I'm also a big fan of Neil Young, Joni Mitchell. You can't not touch on them or get to know them, because they were sort of very important into music, weren't they?
Yeah, well, we've been thinking about Bob a lot because he just turned 80, but his latest album, at age 79, is a considerable piece of work. I mean, he's still got it. And what I was going to say was, I started out as a folk musician. I was into them, and I was into James Taylor and Carole King and all that group, and dabbled on the piano as a kid and started guitar when I was a kid. But I didn't really, I spent the first, I don't know, from 18 up till 50 really concentrating on acting career. I mean, I was always dabbling in music, but really it was the acting that was the big thing for me. There was singing, of course, in the stage shows and that. But then I met this guy who I mentioned, Torquil Campbell, from the band SLE'rs, who they tour the UK quite regularly and Europe. And anyway, we were acting together, and he encouraged, pressing with the songwriting. And so my first album was 2011. And from then on, I've just been hooked. I can't wait to get back in the studio every few years, and I'm constantly writing and recording. I can't keep up really with the stream of consciousness. So, I got notebooks filled with words that'll probably never be set to music.
That's a good thing. Trust me, that's a good thing. That's what I like.
Yeah.
When I first heard you, I heard Dangerous.
What are we gonna do when lies are truth and truth is fake and dangerous? What are we gonna do when leaders are strong and saints are ridiculed and dangerous? Rain and shine, but don't you forget to cast the devil out, cast the devil out. 'Cause this ain't no joke, the road it ends here, just wilderness after this, and dangerous. Do you have children, or sweet Cast the devil out. Cast the devil out.
It's a fantastic song. And then I was listening to the Viper's Nest yesterday, and well, since you said we were going to have this interview, and I listened to Hold Heart, the other two albums, I couldn't actually get them on Spotify, but I did find some of them on. You have them on SoundCloud, don't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of the old stuff on SoundCloud. I got to fix all that, but yeah, you can get the whole. The Old Heart is the third album. You can get that complete on SoundCloud. That one was produced by Torkel of Stars. That's when we started major collaboration. He's going to produce the next record, which is we're going to work on in the fall, like September, when he's finished his album. So, and it's called Next. So, with two X's and an exclamation mark.
Did he work on your single Dangerous?
He did not. That was produced by Vinay, who produced Vinay Lobo, who produced the entire record of Nestor Vipers. And then Vinay and I started collaborating on the two singles, Dangerous, and the one that's coming up is called California's Burning. I'll send you. I don't know if I think I sent you an early version of that. It's not finished, but. Those are the two singles that are going to come out first, and then the record we're gonna start work in the fall. So who knows when that'll come out? But kind of the way of the world now to put singles out one at a time, and then eventually an EP or an album. You know.
Yeah, it seems like the best way. Like the best way I seem to find is to put it on Bandcamp first. That was what I noticed. It's a good idea, but yeah, I think you're right. I want to talk about your album, The Nestor Vipers, because I know you're in Mexico and it touches on some great topics like love, reality, and true life. But it has got, like, for me, a folk rock feel. It has a sort of Latin vibe.
It's got all kinds of, people say, well, what kind of music do you do? And now I just rely on the critics who call it alt folk. So I go, okay, well, I guess I'm alt folk. And the people say, well, what does it sound like? I say, well, more and more it sounds like, I don't know. I've got Latin in there. I got jazz. I got, definitely folk and rock, but world music, all kinds of stuff. I don't really worry about the style. I just treat the songs one at a time. And it comes out how it comes out. But the funny story about Nestor Vipers is that I had already called the album Nestor Vipers, and then I decided to kind of work on a lot of it while I was down in Mexico. And I was sitting every day on my rooftop staring at Cancun, Mexico, because I'm on Isla Mujeres, an island about 20 minutes away. And someone says, "Oh, do you know what Cancun means in the Mayan language?" And I said, "No." And they go, "It means nest of vipers." And holy shit, I guess I'm in the right place.
That's really cool.
But Cancun means nest of snakes. And, that's not too far off, in some areas in Cancun. But it's just a kind of a cool coincidence that I had already called it that. And there I was looking at Cancun every day. And it was originally called that because I'd gone through a bad marriage breakup, and Nest of Vipers was kind of like the atmosphere in the house at the time.
The whole entire album to me is, I told you, I don't know if I did, I wrote a review on it last night because it was just fun to listen to.
Cool.
Well, I'm just going to pick a few because there's so many good ones. One of them I really, really enjoyed was this Queen of the Sky.
Queen of the sky has risen above. Queen of the sky lives on starlight and love. The upper echelons above to CEOs, traders and technocrats and corporate hoes. Queen of the sky is pure and immaculate, made of compassion, goddess particulate in rain. Queen of the sky, Queen of the sky, Queen of the sky.
Sort of had a like bright acoustic beginning, and the slow strings were just cutting through. And I thought it was fantastic. Now, what was it about? Like,
it's actually about a friend of mine who we've been friends since, I don't know, 2005. And we used to be a couple. We used to live together for about 5 years, and we've stayed friends. And she's always this person who decorates her house to be very individualistic, very artistic, and homey in a very, very cool way. Eventually, she moved to this flat that was 3 stories up in the air, so it's literally up in the sky, and you can watch the sunset from the deck every night, and so I just decided to kind of pay tribute to her and her style. That's what it's really about. It's just about my friend. Torkel said, my producer said, my friend said, Donnie, for this next record, what I want you to do is write hits. I want you to write 10 Queen of the Skies. I go, okay, thanks. I'll try. What he was doing was he was paying tribute to how good he thought the song was. And I agree that song came out really easily, and it still stands the test of time. I love playing it, and it's pleasant. So I do like playing positive songs sometimes.
You have a tone that through this album. I think you have a tone that is positive, but you are touching on some points. The one thing I wanted to ask you in there, because it's great what you're saying about the song, and it's about a person, but you had a bit where it was a middle, and I thought there's a bit where you say rain, and then it is like light. Is that sort of some sort of metaphor to like some days it was happy, some days it was good? You say rain, rain, and then light. It's like a middle bit.
Yeah, we had some very strange chords in there, and it was quite a bit of work. And it was just a feeling, that sometimes probably, particularly in Vancouver, there's a lot of rain, but I just thought of it as contrast. I'm really into like atmosphere, light. I use the word light a lot in my writing, or the idea of light and dark, That place where my friend lives is just like filled with light because she's way up in the sky. But of course, I had to get the feeling of that rain in the harmony, and of course in the words.
It's fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, let's move on. I want to ask you about the song Vegas.
From the 32nd floor, still don't know what he was fighting for, but his automatic weapon left 60 people dead. Just can't imagine the hatred in his head. Vegas Strip, where the lights shine bright, so many the lights shine bright. So many lights have gone out tonight. Terror has no color or nationality. Guns have no conscience that's left to you and me. How many more will fall down in the street before the politicians stand up to the gun elite? Vegas Strip, where the lights shine bright. How many lights have gone out tonight? Vegas Strip, where the money flows. Send some of that money to the orphans and widows. Vegas, 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 where the lights shine bright. So many lights have gone out tonight.
I thought this was a brilliant song. I definitely love the lyric line.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love the lyric line, Vegas Strip, where the lights shine bright, which is what Vegas is. Many lights have gone out tonight. It's quite a big topic, actually. And I guess it was about, is it about mass shooting?
Yeah, it's about I hardly ever write about things that are in the news, right away when they happen. But I was just so shocked by that, because it was a concert, dozens of people from the hotel room. And I just felt like I had to write something, kind of along the lines of, the song Neil Young wrote about the shooting in Ohio in Kent State. I wanted it to have that kind of weight, and it worked out. I released it as a single first, and then we decided to put it on the album. We put it out like right as close to the event as humanly possible, and I sent it to groups in Vegas to try and kind of support them. And I made it public that any proceeds I got from the song, I would donate to the victims, that sort of thing. And I actually met a guy here in Mexico, and he said the first time he's from Vegas, and I guess he was there when this thing happened. And he said the first time he heard the song, he just started to cry. It had the impact that I was hoping for some people anyway.
I did like the big slide sound as well. I love slide guitar.
Yeah.
Just love
That's
it.
Vinay. Vinay is my producer on, he's a real wizard. He's the producer on Nestor Vipers, and he did the slide on that and the raw solo on the first song, Fucker, and a lot of other great. He's just a really great guitarist. He just picks the axe up and just does it in one take, one or two takes tops, It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I know through the album there's a lot of slide guitar, and I just love the sound.
Yeah,
you can't beat slide.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, just.
Well, he's very handy to have around, because I don't consider myself a guitarist. I'm like a singer-songwriter. So having a guitarist that's that brilliant is just such a blessing. Same with the guys I've got down here. Alejandro Kike, Alejandro Maya. He did the solo on Dangerous, and then we've got a brilliant Spanish guitarist, a Mexican guy here, who's doing the solo on California's Burning. We just recorded that a few weeks ago. So yeah, blessing to have these guys in your life. I just write the songs. Then
but
I gather.
Be serious. If you got the opportunity to work with people and they're helpful and they're helping you, you want that. That's great. They're adding to you.
Oh yeah.
And I know what you mean by songwriter. Like, I'm more of a rhythm player. I just write lyrics and play rhythm. But it's great when you get like, someone else come in and just add to it. It makes it sound more beautiful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you feel like they really understand the song. You can hear it in the way they play that they understand what the song's about, because you can't just pick anybody. You got to have somebody who gets it.
You can definitely hear that through all the songs. There's like you have something like I don't understand. It's like an atmosphere. It's like you take someone to some like a place. I said to you, I think in the message.
That's good.
You know when you've hit a real songwriter, you know you can feel it through the energy, the heart, the words.
That's cool.
You just hear it, and it's like it grips you, and you think, oh my god, you know this is good. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's great. Great to hear.
I'm going to ask you about another one because you have got a lot of tones on here. Like one of them I'm going to ask you is well, actually I'll ask you because we could just go through the whole lot probably. Writing you to say.
I'm writing to say I'm going away, and when I'll see you, I really can't say. So I'm writing to say, to find our way, to get through to you, through all the obstruction, to have a pure moment, like we used to do. You just loved me, and I loved you. That's why I'm writing to say I love you. I love you, but I'm going away. So remember, I love you. As long as I'm away, that's why I'm writing to say, I'm writing to say, I am writing to say, I'm writing to say.
This is what I wrote. It's drifting down the river with Neil Young in a boat, like an old memory of someone. I thought this was fantastic. I said, brilliant atmosphere to the song. It's like, was it about love?
No, it was actually about my stepdaughter. It's a love song to my stepdaughter because, you know, being a small child when the marriage broke up, you know, there was so much she didn't really understand, and why was daddy going away and moving to Mexico, and you know, and so I just decided to write a song that, you know, maybe one day when she's a bit older, she'll understand how I felt, and you know, that it wasn't her fault and all that kind of stuff, you know. And so yeah, it's really just a love letter to her. The other one that's for her is called Father's Day, which I really love that song. I'm very proud of that song, and the one with the viola on it. I have a couple of great friends who have a band called Rumor Mill out of Vancouver, and they Anna Katerina and Aline Daigle, they add, you know, a lot with their keyboards and strings and harmonies, of course. Anna did all the harmonies. She did all 3 harmony parts on Dangerous. That's all one person.
I'll ask you about Father's Day.
Did you think of me on Father's Day? I know I didn't get a card or a text, but it's one thing to lose touch, it's another to forget. Did you think of me on Father's Day? was proud to be her daddy, if only for a year or two, before I was shut out. You can't control what people do. I offered my help, I offered my song, but a couple of obstructionists made me say so long. Did you think of me on Father's Day? And no, I didn't get a card or a text, but it's one thing to lose touch, it's another to forget. Did you think of me on Father's Day? Maybe I have no right, and it's just illusion. Big love can lead you astray, to big confusion. Did you think of me on Father's Day? And no, it didn't get a card or a text, but it's one thing to lose touch, it's another to forget. Did you think of me on Father's Day? Did you think of me on Father's Day? Did you think of me on Father's Day? Did you think of me on Father's Day?
Did she actually not send you or forget it was Father's Day?
I guess, yeah, that was probably because I left Canada in May of that year. And so probably Father's Day was in June. So I was sort of thinking, oh, I wonder if she thought of me. Yeah, because there wasn't any communication, like her mother, pretty well cut things off and stuff. So it was very hard to take, And so it was really just getting the feeling out by saying, I wonder if, did she think of me on Father's Day? Because there was no communication. So it's a sad song, but it's beautiful. I really like it. It's nice to hear what other people think, because a lot of times I'll just drop a song for a long time, I won't play it, and then someone will say, I really like that song, and they go, yeah, I should play that. Sometimes if they're really old songs, I have to learn them again. I have to go back to the record.
Oh, I felt like it was a bleeding heart, like he was in pain, but I definitely loved the acoustic guitar and the finger picking vibe and the tone you set. It was like hard but sad but true, because the message you write in there was forgot to send a message, text or a card, and it's a funny topic, because I've got a son and I think he forgets it every year.
Yeah, well, this was kind of a difficult circumstance, and it was really nobody's fault. Ultimately everyone has a hand in these things, and it's certainly not the young child's fault. Part of songwriting is moving away from always writing the songs about me and my life, and I'm moving out into like Dangerous is not about me, and California's Burning is not about me, and a lot of my songs are now about other people or other situations, and that's growth as a songwriter, you know, because a lot of young songwriters, it's like I, me, mine, right?
I think whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. I loved it.
Yeah, there's an evolution that happens where you go, you know, sometimes you're going to express your situation, your feelings, and whatever, but sometimes, you know, it's got to be more universal than that, you know. So
I do want to touch on some of the other songs. A lot of vary in this album. If I Ever Had a Woman.
If I ever have a woman who loves me the way you used to do, I will never let go. No, I will always be true. If I ever have a woman as fine as the woman I had, I will always be grateful. I will never be sad, 'cause I've been lucky, 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 fortunate beyond words. But things have gone sideways, no doubt you heard. If I ever have a woman soft as can be, I will never let go, but I will always be free. If I ever have a woman like the one I dream of, I will shower her with care. Yes, I will shower her with love. Oh, shower me. Yeah. Go, Gary. All right. 'Cause I'm in sad, 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 unlucky beyond words. Things are gonna look up, of that I'm sure. If I ever have a woman, if I ever have a woman, if I ever have a woman, I will never let go.
I'm a blues lover, and that piano in it, it just took me back to like an old blues club, you know, like a smoky room. You're there at the mic.
That's what we wanted. Yeah, we did that on purpose. We wanted it to sound like we were just jamming, you know, in some room. And Vinay said, the producer said, well, you know, we had a guest come in and do the acoustic solo, but then we went, well, what else are we going to have? And he said, well, I'm not really a piano player, but I'll try. And then he plays like this brilliant blues riff on the piano. It was so cool what he was playing. We didn't even put bass in. And for me, it was just, you know, it was definitely like, oh, you know, where's my girl? I need a girl. Like, and but actually what it was me attempting to write my first blues song ever. And it turned out okay, because we had, you know, really good people. We had a really good feeling, and I'm pretty proud of it. You know, I love blues, but I'm not a bluesman, and I cranked one out.
I think it just, yeah, I just loved it. It set up a really good atmosphere when you just get into it. It's like, for me, I love the blues. I grew up on it. Then you move on, and then you advance. But every now and then, when you hear one, you want to say, you know, what's different? But it reminded me like blues piano bar. I thought, this is great.
I've been a gigantic Clapton fan since I was a kid, you know, so I definitely grew up listening to him, and also all his influences, like, you know, Buddy Guy and B.B. King and all the big guys, Robert Johnson. So the influence is there. I just, you know, because I didn't really consider myself a blues guy, it took me a long time to get around to writing one.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I think it's fantastic.
But it's fun.
I mean, because the other one I want to ask you is Platonic Lover.
I'm swamped with platonic love, surrounded by platonic love, demanding friendship, demanding hugs, kisses on the cheek, and little heart tugs. tormented by truth. My platonic lovers are filled with friendly youth. My old heart is warm, my old heart is cold, my old heart is bored, my old heart is soul. Platonic lovers are filling my daydreams with sexual situations, just dead-end schemes. Platonic lovers are taunting me with kind words. Platonic lovers make me feel absurd. My old heart is warm, my old heart is cold, my old heart is bored, my old heart is sold, my heart is old, but my heart is bold. Platonic lovers, don't go away. Platonic lovers, I really can't stay. Platonic lovers, platonic lovers, yeah.
Yeah, that one started out as a joke, like me and the original producer of the record, who didn't end up doing it. We were driving and we were laughing because wouldn't it be funny if there was some guy who had so many girlfriends, but they were just friends, and he was complaining about all the platonic love he had in his life, because it's been like that for me sometimes, not all the time, but we were laughing about it. And so I wrote the song. It was kind of a joke. And then when I put it all together, I guess her sexual politics had changed or something. And she said, "You can't sing that song." And I go, "Why?" She said, because there's men out there who hate women because they can't get a girlfriend. and there's some word for it. I can't remember. She said, this is one of those, this is a song about one of those people. I go, "No, it's not. Remember, it's a joke." And I said, "Well, why don't you sing it then?" Like a woman could sing it, and then it'll be okay. She goes, "Okay." But we had a bunch of other disagreements, and so didn't end up being the producer. So there was a lot of political correctness arguments going on, and I just don't. It's not my thing. So, like, you can't play the sitar unless you're from India or something, and that kind of stuff. And I'm going, "No. What about the Beatles?" She was going, "Well, that was then. This is now. You can't." You can't. It's cultural appropriation. I go, "No, it's not. It's just sound. It's a sound. It's universal, But anyway, that's where Platonic Love came out of. It was a joke. and then, I don't know what it is now. I hardly ever play or listen to that song, so I'll have to go back and listen to it. I'm swamped with Platonic Love.
It's got some fantastic piano runs and the percussion. And I love the backing vocals in it. It was. I thought it was brilliant. It's like a smooth dance. That's what I thought it was.
Well, yeah, very cool. Yeah, getting on towards some jazz. And I mean, I've got probably the best drummer in Vancouver, who plays on the album, Shane Wilson. And he's someone that Torkel brought on board. He said, "You got to have, I'll produce your record, but you got," when we did The Old Heart, he said, "I'll produce your record, but I get to pick the drummer because it's the most important musician." So I go, "Okay." And Shane ended up being just, unbelievably talented and hardworking and prepared and all those good things,
You had two songs on here that to me felt very Spanish, but I'm going to have a problem saying the names now. You ready for them?
Hermana Hermosa.
Mi hermana hermosa. Make my life a better place. You brought the island to my face, made me see some people for what they really are. Mi hermana hermosa, thank you for coming so far. Mi hermana hermosa, you fill my days with music. This magic is no trick. Baila, 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 hermana hermosa. Canta, 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 hermana hermosa. Mi hermana hermosa, it's time to go to sleep now. Let me cover you with sweet dreams and a sweet vow, mi hermana, to love you, mi hermana, across the time and space. You will hear my voice, I will see your face, I will hear your voice, you will see my face. Baila, 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 hermana hermosa. Canta, 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 hermana hermosa. Mi hermana hermosa, hermana hermosa. Baila, baila, mi hermana hermosa. Canta, 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 mi hermana hermosa.
That's the one. It translates to beautiful sister.
Yeah, that's for a friend of mine who I met years ago here. It's a pretty funny story, actually. I met her here. Then she ended up coming and living in my apartment for a few months in Canada. And I wrote the song while she was in Canada because we were like brother and sister, you know, not involved romantically. So I wrote this song, you know, just the words. I just wrote the words. And then she said, well, I'm going back to Mexico and you wrote the song, but you told me you were going to write the music. So I told her, yeah, I'll write the music. Don't worry. I'll write it in time for your going away party. And she said, so where's the music? I go, oh, shit. So I literally went out on the lawn outside for like half an hour and wrote the chords. And then we played it for the first night or for the first time at her going away party. And then we ended up putting it on the record. So.
I think it's a lovely acoustic. It's I put a real acoustic live atmosphere. I thought it was about a woman, but then I also thought it was about Mexico because you said the island.
Yeah, it is a little bit about the island because that's where I met her, and also she kind of showed me the ropes because, you know, when you first come to Mexico, there's things you have to learn about the society and the language and the people, and she was one of those people. She's actually Argentinian, but she's been here a long time. She's still like my sister, the sister I never had. Actually, her whole family's here. I'm friends with her mom and her brother. They're like the Argentinian mafia here. Authentic family. Great to have friends like that. You know, when you're in a foreign country, it doesn't even seem like a foreign country anymore to me.
Does it feel like home to you? Like as a person, you're from Canada. Like I'm from England, but we go to places on travels, and some people feel like certain places. Like I went to India, and I felt like it was a second home. I miss it like hell.
Yeah, it feels like a second home. I especially feel at home in the non-touristy parts, you know, like up in the middle of the island where it's not so commercial, and you just feel like one of the people. And my Spanish is getting better, not as fast as it should, but I practice on an app called Duolingo, which is very handy. And of course, my friends speak Spanish, and I do my best. It's just a respect thing, you know, like the cab drivers will charge you less if you speak all Spanish.
Wow.
So I make an effort. The place grows on you because while like we talk about the music and the food and the people and the festivals and it's just a fabulous place to live. The people are so like filled with, sometimes you can go back to Canada and for a while things seem kind of bland, or they might seem quiet because Mexico's quite a loud country. The music's loud, the people are loud, the cars are loud, and sometimes that can get on your nerves. But I try to keep a good balance.
I think the way you describe it sounds like when I went to India, I felt that, because I know Mexico is not obviously as advanced as Canada, but I felt when I was in India, there was more. They had more love to people, they were more happy, and they had nothing. And I thought, this is a better place than where I'm living. It's a strange feeling.
Yes, I felt that too. That the people here, it's kind of like a truism, but a lot of them are poor but happy. And their families really stick together. Like the grandparents and the kids and the parents, they all live together, and the cousins, and they really love their festivals and parties and just everything. They share everything, and there is a lot of poverty here, but by and large the people seem pretty happy to me, even with the COVID and all that.
Has it been bad? Has it been bad in Mexico with the COVID? Yeah,
not so much on this island, but definitely in Mexico City and the bigger cities like Cancun and stuff. They've had pretty bad numbers. They seem to have it under control pretty much on Isla Mujeres, but they did go through a very severe lockdown where nothing was happening and nothing was open, and that's a very severe situation for a society where over 80% of the economy is tourism. So when there was no tourists, there was no economy.
Probably.
And that was bad.
Yeah, I guess it was. That's probably going to be hard hitting. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the other track on there, because I can't actually pronounce it, but I know you can. There's another song on there about a city in Mexico, and it sounds like...
Oh, yeah, that's Coyoacán. Coyoacán.
I wanna live in Coyoacán with that Mayan woman and the Casa Azul. A little bit of Europe, a little bit New York, un montón de Mexico in a sky full of love. Wanna live in Coyoacán with a courtyard and a fountain and blue and purple walls, birds in our trees, 2 cats in our yard, friends at our table and a night full of love. Coyoacán cast a spell on me, but I feel free in Coyoacán. I wanna live in Coyoacán with that Mayan woman and the Casa Azul. A bit Sadie Yamakis, a little bit BC, a little bit of everything, and a world full of love. Coyoacán cast a spell on me, and I feel free in Coyoacán. Coyoacán.
Coyoacán is a neighborhood in Mexico City, and I lived there on and off. I had a girlfriend in Mexico City, and I lived there in Coyoacán. And it's famous because partly because that was the home of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, Casa Azul, and I kind of lived around the corner from their house. Of course, their house is a museum now. They're probably the 2 most famous artists in Mexico, and like she particularly is like an industry. You see her picture on bags and clothing and T-shirts, and she's like the patron saint of Mexico practically. So anyway, that was a really cool place to live. It was like I was just trying to describe what it was like to live there. It was kind of like a cross between Mexico, New York, and Europe, And it's very different than the rest of Mexico City. It's more green, it's more safe, it's more calm, more quiet, very culturally alive, and really nice people, and great markets and beautiful architecture. And so I was just trying to describe what it was like. And I'd still love to live there. You never know. Mexico City is just like overwhelming, but Coyoacan is like a little oasis in the middle of this gigantic city. I mean, probably the biggest city I've ever been in besides London.
It's got the biggest population in the world, I think, isn't it? Or is it Tokyo? One of them.
Yeah. Someone told me that during rush hour in the subway in Mexico City, there's more people that are in my entire province of British Columbia in Canada. And, when they had the Dia de los Muertos, is the festival just after our Halloween, is early November, as a big festival, usually. And they had a parade. This is pre-COVID. They had a parade. There's 3 million people on the street to watch this parade. I mean, there's only 3 million people in all of Vancouver, maybe less actually, or maybe Toronto is 3 million, but that was just the people there to watch the parade, like 16 deep on the street. But that's a seething mass of humanity. And the parade, of course, was just like nothing you've ever seen. It's just giant floats and, really imaginative displays of music and dancing. And they really know how to do it up.
Is it bright colors and just like people dancing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing Mexico really knows how to do, is a festival.
I do want to ask you about the title track, Nestor Viper.
I live in a nest of vipers, but at least they sleep. And they don't always bite, sometimes they're sweet. And just to be honest, my head has a nest, but it only comes out when the drink beats my blood. Drink beats my blood. Drink beats my blood. Three snakes, they pursue me for their own agendas, but they can be charming and they can be cool. Have they drawn the last straw? 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 All that remains is my little darling, love of my life, light of my morning. 3 calls a day I have insisted, and I will insist, that this nest of vipers give her a rest, away from the nest, away from the nest, away from the nest. I live in a nest of vipers, but at least they sleep. And they don't always bite, sometimes they're sweet. And just to be honest, my head has a nest, but it only comes out when the drink beats my blood. Drink beats my blood. Have they drawn the last straw? Have they drawn the last straw? Have they drawn the last straw? They have drawn the last straw.
To me, it was like a charming hymn, like a sting of a viper. It was quite an interesting song. Is this I thought it was a bit of a haunted reality of. Was it about drinking and?
Oh yeah, it was all about drinking and domestic strife, and there's an element of having a child in the middle of all that, and it's a 3-part song, and there's. The first part is basically introducing the idea of living in a nest of vipers, which is what it felt like at the time. And the second part, I can't remember offhand, but I know that the third part is almost like a lullaby to the child. So
the bit you said in the middle was it's an intensive hit, and I thought, was that your actual theory of like a bite? It was like you come in smooth, and it's just like going along like a hymn, and then suddenly you just get hit. And then suddenly you go back out.
Yeah, it gets pretty. The music and the drums and all that, the guitars get pretty violent in there. So you could think of it as a snake bite or something. I didn't really think of it that way. Definitely, that feeling is in there. It was a very tumultuous time. I wrote it after leaving Canada. I wrote it on the beach in Mexico, whispering into my tape recorder on the beach. I thought people must wonder what the hell I'm doing. I'm singing it into my tape recorder or into my phone, writing this crazy song on the beach, complete opposite atmosphere from what I was trying to describe. I get a lot of churchy stuff in there, like churchy sounds, organs and church references, religious references in my writing, because I grew up in that kind of atmosphere. I'm a Buddhist now, but I definitely hung out in a lot of churches, and so I often turn to that kind of symbolism or that kind of sound just naturally. Even as we're working towards California's burning, there's a line in there. It says Hollywood is closed. The angels turned their back. They're shooting up the road somewhere north of Idaho. So there's this angel symbolism that the angels have deserted the society, which is burning, and we're going to get some angel singers in there for sure. I got my angelic female harmony experts working on it. All that we put down so far is my vocals, female harmony, keyboards, and Spanish guitar, and then we'll add simple drums and probably some bass, and then we'll mix and master it. But yeah, it doesn't sound too bad so far.
Have you got a date for that when it comes out, or is it just like make?
Well, I think we're gonna finish that while I'm still in Mexico, because my plans, I was gonna be back, like I said, in the middle of June, but I think we can do it remotely, so it could come out. Yeah, it could come out this summer for sure. I can see it coming out, because just putting one single out is fairly simple and not as expensive as a whole album. So I can probably manage to pump that out this summer for sure. I want to put it out because I know there's going to be another season of fires in California, terrible fires. But the song isn't just about the fires. It's about America and all the problems and turmoil that they've been through, particularly during the Trump era.
I've interviewed a few Canadians, and you're very all big on this Trump. I'm against Trump myself, but is it affected Canada a lot? And obviously being in Mexico, has there been a lot of issues with that? And that has come out in the writing?
We border, both Mexico and Canada, we border. So it's hard to avoid, there's problems that he created for both countries. He's very unpopular in Mexico and almost equally unpopular in Canada. And we're just glad he's gone. And, we've tired of talking about him, actually. I never use his name directly in any song, you'll notice. He's the devil and cast the devil out, he's symbolic of a sickness that was there before he came along. And it's still there, there's still certain groups that are, saying he's going to come back and be president again and all this nonsense. Yeah, it's depressing to live next door to that. In fact, I refused to go to America that whole time that he was in power. I just think he's a fascist, and I can't believe that such a big portion of the U.S. population, and particularly the politicians, have embraced him, like, and still embrace him. I don't know what's going on in their heads, but I guess it's about power. But he's a failure. I mean, he's a failure as a president. He's a failure. He lost the election. His only answer to that is that, oh, it was fixed. You know, he lost the White House. He lost the Senate. And he lost the House of Representatives. He's a failure. Get rid of him. But for some reason, they're hanging on. You know, we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll go to jail, and that'll solve it all. That's my hope. I bet $100 on it. I bet Torkel $100 that he's going to go to jail. So well, I got money to make.
The thing I have noticed, it's brought out a lot of good music. It's like because of the state of the way it's all been. I mean, it's not just Canada and Mexico.
Yes.
It's a global issue, but I've heard so many good songwriters come out with stuff. It's that burning passion to say, hey, this is a brainwash. Like you said, it's a fascist. This is wrong, and people have wrote about it.
Well, I was lucky enough to grow up, you know, in the 60s when that was really a huge part of the purpose of folk music, you know, with Dylan and Joan Baez and all those people, Neil Young, was to talk about the problems in society. And then that kind of seemed to go away for a while, but it's definitely come back, you know, for me anyway. Protest songs, you know, for lack of a better word, songs critical of society and governments and fashions, and you know, that's one of the purposes of music. I mean, that's what I grew up with. It's not just entertainment. It's not just you know, a trend. You know, I don't have anything particular against dance music or other kinds of styles of music, but it's not for me. You know, it's not kind of music.
So I totally understand.
I mean, I love Rihanna as much as the next person, but I can't have a steady diet of just that, right?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think it's the variety is the spice of life. You've got to have a bit of everything. But the sort of artists you talk about now, I'm only 44, but that's what I grew up on. Like a musical journey I had, it just led back to there. It kept leading back there. It's like always back to the 60s and 70s. I mean, I even went back to the 50s and to try to understand it. But I get what you mean. It's very hard to sort of, you can't disregard them artists. They're something huge. They made something like you said earlier. I think a couple of times you mentioned like Neil Young when he sung at Ohio. It was like your Vegas. It's a point. It's a part of history that should be told. But some people, we don't do it, do we? Some of them hide it, and that for me, that's the most important thing. The hard hitting songwriters, and that's what I like about you. Sometimes, like you said, you say the word political, but it's just like telling the truth. You're a storyteller. You have to tell it. It's just in your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, and you got to keep saying it because otherwise it'll happen again. You know, and, you know, these shootings and these riots where the police get out of hand, and, you know, they will and do happen again. And you got to keep talking about it to try to avoid that. I mean, I think Neil Young said, you know, you can't change the world with a song or something, but you can make a contribution. You can make people think. You can make people feel. That's important. That's what art is for. You know, and it doesn't have to be comfortable. It doesn't have to be nice. I love to swear in my songs. There's one on the Old Heart called "Fuck Life and Fuck the World," and my mother used to. It's just a character. It's not me. I just made them up, and which was she skipped to number 4. She's gone now. She's watching from above, so she's probably less judgmental.
She's watching over you.
Of course.
So I'd like to thank you for letting me interview today, and just like to tell the people where they can catch you or where they can pick up your songs.
Yeah, well, the best place is the website, dgadamsmusic.com, because then you've got everything. You got links to Spotify, you got links to iTunes, all the other platforms. I've got a Bandcamp too, and of course the SoundCloud. Almost all those links are on there. Plus, you get reviews, you get news, you get pictures, videos, whatever. So dgadamsmusic.com is your best bet.
Well, thank you.
And I always like to say, independent music, if you like it, buy it.
100% agree with you.
Spotify's not the best. Bandcamp's the best.
You wave your little white flag. You say I've had enough. It's been a little while now since you called my bluff. Let's keep it simple, baby. I'll keep it simple, baby. Let me lay you down. You need a little downtime, just a little downtime, a little dirty downtime, downtime, downtime. No need to hesitate. Your sins are safe with me. Just wave your little white flag. No charge, submissions